Mics, camera, action. Welcome to episode 75, Debbie. It is episode 75 of Takaro.
Very, very cool. And thank you to everyone who's joined us again to listen to what's happening around the world. We try and break it down for you. We try and keep it simple. And we try and bring you the most important headlines. And this is the 75th episode that we're doing. And this one's a good episode because I think we are trying to cover a few different stories in this episode.
We're not going to cover 75 stories, but we're going to cover 4. Yeah, a mix between science, technology, politics, trade. Oh man, it's cool.
Let's start with the first one. The first story, one that we mentioned in our previous episode that we were very excited about, was around how we are going to head back towards the moon. Remember that mission, Artemis II? Well, that's facing some problems now, isn't it?
Yeah, so, it's still on. Artemis II is still on. It is still going to send humans to the moon. Not to land on the moon, but just to, circle the moon and do a lot of experiments. But the mission, which was supposed to launch, I think, a couple of days ago in early Feb, is now being pushed to at least March. So it's at least a month and a half delay, which is sad. But, what's interesting is Artemis I also was postponed very, very similarly. Artemis I was, again, to do a lot of tests, but it did not have people. But even that flight, that mission was kind of postponed.
And the reason for the postponement, is a tiny, tiny, tiny little obstacle. And that is hydrogen.
The lightest, isn't it? Lightest element? Hydrogen?
Yes, it is, Kiran. Hydrogen is the lightest element. It's the lightest gas. In fact, the lightest element in the periodic table. And
did you have to research that?
Of course I did. Do you think I remember everything from science class like many years ago? I don't.
Yeah.
Guys,
cool
it's
things,
okay if you don't remember everything. You can always look it up, and it's always good to refresh your memory and learn new things or relearn old things and make them new things, right?
Yep. And in fact, look out for the blooper, which will get cut in this episode.
This will also get cut in this episode. But coming back.
So what's interesting about hydrogen is that it is so small and so light, but it is also the reason why they use it, because it actually has a big thrust factor in the sense that when you light up hydrogen, it creates, I think, one of the highest amounts of thrust along with oxygen when both of them combine. So which is why it's used in space missions, because you want the least amount of fuel or the least amount of elements that you can use in order to propel yourself the most. And because, it is a long journey. So which is why hydrogen is critical. It is extremely tough to maintain, manage, but it is critical. Contain as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what happened here, because I think they found that there was a leak in the fuel system, and some of the hydrogen, which is so light and so efficient, but also extremely difficult to keep together. And you cannot take any chances in a mission like this. Absolutely no chance, because you're talking about the safety of your crew. You're talking about lots and lots of money that has gone into this mission to make it a success. So you'd rather test and test and test again and make sure everything is in place and proper before you finally give it a go-ahead. So Artemis II, postponed because of a tiny little molecule, tiny little gas, but it's going to be back hopefully by March.
So we'll keep you posted on that, like we said we would the last week around as well. In fact, talking about things flying into the atmosphere, we have the Winter Olympics that have just started. And the reason I say
flying into the atmosphere,
because one of the most exciting events in the Winter Olympics, at least for me, is the ski jumps. They are incredible. I don't know if you've seen ski jumps, but they're these massive, and if you haven't, go look for videos of ski jumpers, right?
It's already started, Feb 6th to Feb 22nd. It's happening in 2 locations in Italy, in Milan and...
It's a proper noun.
So I can say it any way I want. But correct me if I'm saying it absolutely incorrectly. India is going to be at the Winter Olympics. Yes,
Yep.
we always participate. I mean, usually not across all the different sports because, we don't have that many athletes who participate in the Winter Olympics. This year, we have two people who are participating. One, Arif Khan, who's a male alpine skier who's in the men's slalom. And the second is a cross-country skier called Stanzen Lundu, who's in the men's 10-kilometer freestyle. So you have two people who we should be rooting for. Wish them all the very best, and I hope they bring back a medal in the Winter Olympics this time. The other cool thing that happened was, now, before every Olympics, the Olympic torch is lit. Now, this is a tradition that's been followed for many, 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 many years, right from the beginning. It's a sacred tradition where the Olympic flame is lit in Olympia in Greece, in a temple, the temple of Hera specifically. It's lit there, and then the flame travels to the place where the Olympics is going to take place. And it is carried by many athletes, like I think almost 1,000 different sports
from
people
different countries.
from different countries, representing their countries, carry and run with this torch across different cities and bring it to where the Olympics is going to take place. And this year we had Abhinav Bindra. Remember, we've spoken about him. He's our only individual Olympic gold medalist. He had the honor of actually carrying the Olympic torch as well this year.
Very cool. So keep your eyes peeled, and specifically for Arif Khan and Stanzen Lundu, alpine skiing is a really, really exciting sport as well. And the men's slalom is basically where you start at the top of the hill and you have to go all the way down through these flags. You'll see red and blue flags that you have to kind of weave yourself through and get to the bottom, the fastest person. So it's a really, really fast sport. Cross country is where, they're just kind of going through different parts, flat land, up, down, through the forest, even sometimes on top of frozen lakes. So if you can see videos of, the Winter Olympics, do that and let us know which one was most exciting for you.
From that very, very fun, freezing cold story, we're coming to a slightly different type of story. We're talking about the stock market. We're talking about AI. We're talking
Why
about...
the face? Why are you not excited about this?
Winter sports versus stock market. Okay, maybe as exciting because things do go up and down like a roller coaster there too.
Correct. Exactly. See, well put. Yeah, we're talking about specifically the fact that AI is now playing havoc with the stock market globally. And last week, it's kind of tied to a lot of things, right? The stock market works very closely with what's happening around the world. So when there are tariffs, then the stock market reacts. When there are tariffs taken away, the stock market reacts. Last week, Anthropic, which is one of the largest AI companies today, along with OpenAI. OpenAI has ChatGPT, Anthropic has Claude. Anthropic just released something called Claude Cowork, which is seen as a major big step into AI automating a lot of things in the business world and also in our own lives, right? Traditionally, when you think about workflows, automation, you really think about IT services. India is a major IT services hub for the world. I'm sure you've heard of companies like Wipro and Infosys and Tata Consulting Services and so on and so forth. All of them are in the IT services space. So India is one of the largest employers in that space. Now, all these company shares, all the Indian company shares dropped dramatically last week because Anthropic launched Claude Cowork. And the reason is very, very simple.
I like that portmanteau word that you just made right now. Dramatically. Dramatically plus drastically becomes dramatically. I like it.
Excellent.
I think we should use that word more often.
Okay, done. So Anthropic's Claude Cowork dramatically changes the way we think about automation, right? Because generally a company, if they wanted to create something, they would hire a Wipro or an Infosys to kind of create that software. But over here, this Claude Cowork has started showing signs that it can actually do that without having to hire a Wipro or a TCS or an Infi. And that's what the stock market assumed. Now, it's just initial reaction. A lot of people have come back saying, hey, AI is great, but you will still need humans. You will still need humans to come in and integrate multiple pieces of software and so on and so forth. So it had a major impact on the IT stocks. The reason we're talking about this is because IT is a big part of India's economy. And so it will have an impact on even the people who are employed by these companies over the next couple of years. Right?
Employment,
Exactly. Will they have to reduce their headcount? Will they have to increase more? Will they have to change the type of people who are in these companies? And think about it, these are companies who each employ 1 lakh plus people. So it's a pretty big deal. And may not be as exciting as Winter Olympics or, mission to the moon. But it is very close to home and very important for a lot of us. And also related to that is the fact that US and India are friends again.
So, yes, I know. From being freezing cold, that relationship was freezing cold, and now suddenly it's warming up and thawing completely. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, it's like the stock market. One day they're up, one day they're down. Everything is
one day they're friends, one day they're not friends.
It's all following the exact same path. So you see how this story is connected. All the stories in today's episode. But yeah, so Donald Trump decided that he would cut India's tariffs from 50%, which is what he had put it as India's tariffs, right? Because
as
India
a punishment.
Punishment, because India said we will not stop buying Russian oil. But it dropped to now 18% last week because India said, okay, we will not buy as much Russian oil. So this is a major deal for, the Indian economy, because that means Indian goods can now be sold in the US again. It won't be impacted by high prices, things like, pharmaceuticals, medicines, gems, diamonds, jewelry, aircraft parts. All of those can actually be even almost zero from a tariff perspective. And in fact, India has also reduced a ton of tariffs on the US products as well. Even agricultural produce from the US, which is crazy.
Yeah, and people are worried about that, right? Because, ultimately India's economy depends a lot on agriculture. It depends a lot on the well-being of our farmers. If our farmers don't get a good deal when they're selling their goods, then they struggle and then they suffer, and it's going to be a huge problem for our economy. So while India has said that, the talk is that we have actually protected our agriculture, we have protected our farmers by saying that, hey, we're not going to open up the market and buy too many goods from America. But some of them we will, like a few things that are anyway being imported into the country. For example, seed and nut oils and things like that. Things that we don't produce too much of, we anyway import it. So we'll keep, working on that. But the main things, we will not, remove taxes or start importing from the US, for example.
India is also committed to buying up to 500 billion of US goods.
That's a big one.
Yeah, and that includes things like defense, a lot of missiles and aircraft parts, and even energy and things like that, right? So that's a major commitment where India is committing to spend $500 billion on US products.
Over the next 5 years, yes.
Yeah,
over a period of time. But that's a lot of money, a big commitment to make. And I think, I'm sure Trump is particularly happy about that one. In a way, India is saying that we're on track. If we do this, then we will be on track to actually advance our own defense and advance our, in terms of technology and grow as a country. Both parties seem to be happy at this stage. And like we said, they're back to being friends again. But we know this is all very, very political, signaling to the world that India and US are working together again, which is an important thing.
It is. It's very, very important from a strategic, geopolitical perspective. But that also brings us to the end of this week's episode. And so instead of ending it with trade and economy and politics, let's go back to sports.
I agree. So I think we should go back to the winter sports. Yes.
I think so. So this week's quiz question, do we have something from the winter sports side of things, Debbie?
Yes, absolutely. I was prepared for this one. Ooh. One sport that we did not actually talk about at all when we were speaking about it earlier, that we did very, very well in fact, was the sport called luge. The question this week is, Who is the first Indian to compete in luge, who participated in 6 consecutive Winter Olympics from 98 to 2018, and he also is the youngest luge Olympian in history.
Wow.
So very, very cool that an Indian holds that record.
Yeah.
The options that we are giving you are option 1, Abhinav Bindra, option 2, Arif Khan, option 3, Shiva Keshavan, option 4, Neha Ahuja.
Excellent.
Okay.
Very
so
cool
the question again, who is the first Indian to compete in luge? Kiran, do you know what luge is? By the way, let's tell people what luge is, right? It's such a cool sport.
It is. It is very cool. And in fact, wasn't there a movie around it as well?
I remember there was one movie that I loved, which is around bobsleighing. It's called Cool Runnings.
That was bobsleighing. Yeah, Cool Runnings is so cool. Yeah.
If you haven't watched Cool Runnings, please add it to your list and watch it this weekend.
The Jamaicans come and compete in Winter Olympics.
Correct.
The reason it's so funny, guys, is because India has not generally been a Winter Olympics sort of country, right? We don't have that many skiing slopes. We like in South India, where would you go skiing? Never, right? Even in North India, it's
still
only
does have snow. India does have snow.
It does.
But Jamaica does not.
Yeah,
Jamaica is like a tropical island. There is absolutely no snow. It's fully sunny and there are beaches and sand and it's hot. But and that's the best part about this movie, because there's a team from Jamaica that learns how to use a bobsleigh and goes competing in the Winter Olympics. It's a phenomenal story.
It's very funny. But yeah, luge. You were talking about luge.
Yeah, so luge is not like bobsleighing. Bobsleighing is a team sport where you are all jumping into this little sleigh, and it's a high-speed sliding sport, okay? Luge is where you're on this little platform and you have to lie supine. Supine basically means you lie on your back, your feet are in front, and you go sliding down these little, what do you call them? They're like...
It's like, think of, when you go to a water park and you have those massive slides which go all the way around and, it goes up and down and round and round. But this you're doing on snow and ice.
On ice, on packed ice, and it's high speed and it's super cool. And I just found out today, Kiran, that there is another version of this sport, which is called skeleton, which is where you have to be upside down.
Oh, is it? Okay.
You have to be upside down. You're lying on your tummy instead of lying on your back.
Oh, and your head is facing front and you're going that way. Yeah. I think I've seen that.
Very cool. Yeah.
I didn't know it was called skeleton.
Yeah, that's what I just found out. So luge is supine. Skeleton is where the athlete lies on their stomach and is head first.
Wow, that's crazy. So, again, who is the youngest luge Olympian who happens to be an Indian? Let's now get to what most people are waiting for, last week's quiz question. And what the right answer is. We were talking about octopuses last week. And who was the famous octopus who predicted the results of 8 matches during the 2010 FIFA World Cup? The options were Hank, Paul, Tim, or the Octopus King. We got a whole bunch of answers. You know what was interesting, Debbie, is that the only 2 answers that we got from everyone was Hank and Paul. There was no Kraken, there was no Octopus King. So, that's interesting.
People were close. Yeah.
The right answer is Paul, the octopus who predicted 8 matches and their results.
And also the World Cup final. Which was between Netherlands and Spain, and it was won by Spain, 0-1. So Paul got that right.
Excellent. So, Paul is the answer, and our lucky winner is 11-year-old Levi Joseph. Congratulations, Levi.
Well done, Levi. Well done. And you are going to get Takaro Kids t-shirt as well as a gift card from us. So keep it up. Keep listening. For all those of you who want to participate in this week's quiz, you know what to do. You have to either go on to www.takarokids.com, send in your answer there, or you can get someone to help you get onto Instagram and send us a DM with the correct answer. And we will pick not the first, not the second, not the third. We will pick one lucky winner. You have to get the answer right though. And we will pick one winner from the lot to win this week's quiz question.
And until next week, it is bye-bye.